doing the Week 7 NFL recap video here today. We are down to one undefeated team. We will get to that shortly, but here we go. We'll start with the Thursday night game. Broncos beat up on the Saints 33-10. Now, this was in New Orleans. The Saints were missing 8 guys, I think. 8 starters. Broncos moved to 4-3. Saints are 2-5. Saints got injuries, and this win is good for Denver because it's not even like Denver's like an incredible team, but you have to win this game if you feel you're better than the Saints, because the Saints are down 8 players. You got to beat them, and they did. So it's nice to see that. I'm hoping they're turning a corner there, but sometimes Denver will win, and this is recent years. They'll win 2 in a row, and then they'll lose to a team they should beat, and it's like, yep, they're the same old Broncos, right? But anyway, they win 33-10, and Sean Payton's return to New Orleans. Bo Nix, 16-26, 164 yards. No TDs, no picks. He's not sacked. Williams does 88 yards rushing on 2 TDs. Bo Nix also rushes for 35 yards. Once again, some of these teams, as a team, they ran for 225 yards. Troy Franklin had a nice little game here. 5 catches for 50 yards to lead the way. Courtland Sutton, I don't even think he had a target in this game, because I was like, is he hurt? Oh my God. And everybody's like, no, he's in. He's just not getting targets. They did have 6 sacks as a team. New Orleans, Spencer Rattler, 25-35, 172 yards, no TDs, no picks. He was sacked 6 times, like I said. They get another guy comes in, 3 for 4, 38 yards and a TD. This was in the fourth quarter. Miller has 36 yards to lead the way. Rattler has another 34 yards rushing. Cedric Wilson Jr. has 6 catches for 57 yards and the TD for the Saints. Rattler loses 2 fumbles. They had no sacks or no picks. And Denver's got another team they should beat this week in the Panthers, because if they can beat the Panthers in Denver, they get to 5-3. Then they have to go to Baltimore and KC, which, let's be honest, they're going to realistically be losses, But then they have a stretch where they can really do some damage if they are for real, as the experts like to say. Defensively, they're for real, I think. Offensively, they're not great offensively at all. But if, Franklin can consistently be good, Sutton starts getting the ball again. On to Sunday, the London game. Jaguars beat the Patriots 32-16. Jags are 2-5. Patriots have lost 6 in a row, I believe. They're 1-6. Drake May, 276 yards passing, 2 TDs, no picks. They rushed the ball for 38 yards on 15 carries. Henry has 92 yards receiving to lead the way. Hasty, 49 catches and a TD. Osborne has the other receiving TD for the Patriots. They get no sacks, no picks. Lawrence, 193 yards, a touchdown, no picks. He isn't sacked. Bigsby, 118 yards of rushing and 2 TDs. They go for 171 yards rushing as a team. Thomas Jr. leads the way, receiving 89 yards and a touchdown. They had 2 sacks. No picks for them either. No turnovers in this game, apparently. So Jags get a much-needed win, because they've not been good in there. Like I said, the Patriots are not good. Seahawks beat up on the Falcons in Atlanta, 34-14. They moved to 4-3. The Falcons are also 4-3. Geno Smith, 207 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. Kenneth Walker III, 69 yards rushing and a TD. Metcalf, 99 yards receiving and a TD. Walker also has a touchdown receiving, so nice little fantasy game for him. They get 3 sacks from 3 different players. Picks by Love and Bryant. Kirk Cousins 232 yards, a TD, and 2 picks. He sacked 3 times. That rookie came in for them and had a pass, 1 for 114 yards. Robinson 103 yards rushing and a TD for the Falcons. Pitts leads the way with 65 yards receiving. Drake London 63 yards and the receiving TD. Cousins loses a fumble. Panthers just keep going back and forth. You don't know what they are. Titans lose to the Bills 34-10. Bills move to 5-2. Titans are 1-5. Things a little slow. Rudolph starts now for the Titans at quarterback. 215 yards, TD and a pick. He sacked 3 times. Pollard 61 yards rushing. Number 85 leads the way with 50 yards receiving. And number 15 has the receiving TD. Rudolph fumbles 3 times. He only loses 1, but he does fumble 3 times. They had a lone sack. Josh Allen, 323 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. I don't think he has any picks on the year, Allen. He's actually having a really good year. They don't really run the ball. 20 for 74 as a team. Ray Davis, 41 yards rushing and a TD. Cook also has a rushing TD. Coleman has 125 yards receiving. Amari Cooper, who they just picked up in a trade from the Browns, 66 yards receiving and a TD for his first game there. Ty Johnson has the other receiving TD. They get their 3 sacks. DeMar Hamlin has the pick. Their kicker has 2 field goals. So the Bills are they're gonna end up running away with that division. I think. It looked like maybe they'd have some competition by the Jets early, and then the Jets have lost a bunch in a row. Bengals beat the Browns 21-14. So all of a sudden the Bengals are 3-4 now. They're starting. The problem is they ran into the same problem last year. They started off terribly and then came on and finally realized they have talent. And it was too late. Is it going to be too late this year? We don't know. Browns dropped to 1-6. Watson tore his Achilles, I believe, so he's done. I keep forgetting they have Winston. Realistically, he's probably better. Joe Burrow. Is it Burrow maybe that has no picks? Does Allen have no picks too? Burrow, I don't think has any picks. He's having a ridiculously good year. 2 TDs, no picks, 181 yards. He's sacked 3 times. They run the ball only 25 times for 59 yards. Team. Higgins and Chase both have the receiving TDs, with Higgins leading the way with 82 yards receiving. They don't fumble the ball. Stone and Hubbard have the picks. Look at this, though. Charlie Jones, 1 kick return for 100 yards and a TD, so nice kick return touchdown there. I always forget to look down at the kick returns because the way the kicks are now, the way it works, I guess they can't. I actually saw it in action. The players can't engage until, the dude gets the ball, I think. The rest of the special teams units can't engage until the returner gets the ball. Anyway. Watson had 128 yards. He's actually 15-17 before he gets hurt. Thompson Robinson comes in 82 yards passing, 2 picks, no TDs. Then Winston comes in 5 for 11, 67 yards and a touchdown. So you're telling me Winston was the no? I think Winston might have been banged up, and he was an emergency QB. I think at that point, I read something like that. Chubb has the rushing touchdown. Robinson, the quarterback, has 44 yards rushing to lead the way. Number 85 has the 76 yards and 10 catches and a touchdown receiving. So the Browns are just terrible at this point. Their season's over. Battle here. This was the end of the game. I think the Packers won this at the end. I think it was McManus, the kicker, that won it. Yep, Bronco former kicker. They beat the Packers and Green Bay. Beat the Texans 24-22. Both teams are 5-2. Solid game between 2 excellent teams. Stroud doesn't do well. 10-21, 86 yards, no TDs, no picks. And he's sacked 4 times. Mixon rips it up rushing. 115 yards, 2 TDs. Schultz leads the way, receiving with 28 yards. Diggs did have 5 catches for 23. So they were getting stuffed defensively. They do have 2 picks from Hewitt and Bullock. Yeah, their kicker had 3 field goals. Did they get a... Okay. They had to have gotten a fumble return touchdown then. Where do you find that typically? The Gamecast should have that, right? I want to see if it was a fumble return touchdown because somebody did fumble on the Packers and the TDs aren't adding up with what I'm seeing. Whoop, I hit the wrong button because I'm an idiot. And this iPad is... oh my god. Come on, you stupid thing. Oh my god. Here we go. Oh no, it wasn't. Mixon just had 2 rushing TDs. All right. I did not see that for some reason. So not much going on offensively outside of Mixon. Stroud, that's got to be one of his worst days as a pro. Jordan Love, 220 yards, 3 TDs, 2 picks, sacked 3 times. Jacobs rushes for 76 yards on 12 carries. Dobbs, 94 yards receiving. Wicks and Kraft and Jacobs all have receiving TDs. Ballentine has the loose fumble. 2 sacks for Wilson. They have no picks, but just a good football game that came down to the wire. Between 2 good teams. There's another one coming up between 2 good teams that came down to the wire as well. The internet is like not great in this back room. It's weird. As I gotta wait for it to struggle. Come on, back to the scores. I'm like trying to cut the time down on these, and this fucking iPad just is a piece of shit, I guess. It is Apple. A little shot at Apple there. People are gonna get pissed. Apple's fine. I like to rag on things when they're not working properly. Or it's the bad internet. I don't know. I'll tell you what, my Dell laptop is starting to shit the bed. I thought I was gonna have to buy a new one the other night. I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna spend like $500 on a new freaking laptop. As I'm still waiting to get back to the freaking scores here, because this iPad is just taking a dump. Where was I? Bengals, Browns, I did. Texas, okay. Colts beat the Dolphins 16-10 to move to 4-3. Dolphins are 2-4. And then the one port, I had to restart the computer because it wasn't reading. The USB port wasn't reading the things that I was plugging into it. And then I had to get a new charger for the thing. My other charger wasn't working, but my computer had juice in it, and it just didn't turn on for a night. I kept trying to turn it on. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Anyway, Huntley for the Dolphins, 87 yards, passing and a TD, sacked twice. Boyle also comes in and has 74 yards passing. They do rush the ball for 108 yards. 28 has 77, Mustard has 50. Smith has the receiving TD and 96 yards to go along with it. I think the Colts had a fumble return touchdown because the Miami lost 2 fumbles. Colts, Richardson, 10-24, 129 yards, no TDs, no picks. He isn't sacked. He does rush for 56 yards. Goodson rushes for 51 and a TD. I feel like the Colts are very similar to Denver, although they have a little more often. Like Pittman's really good. 63 yards receiving for him. He leads the way. Richardson lost a fumble. Just a game. I should know Denver plays in. Denver's played in a lot of these just a games over the past like 7 or 8 years. Colts quietly 4-3 fighting. They like Denver. They're kind of overachieving. I'd say this was the game of the week, actually, yes. Lions beat the Vikings 31-29. They got a field goal in like 15 seconds left. Because they were up like 10, and then the Vikings took the lead late, I believe. Two battles now. The Vikings have a loss. They're 5-1. Lions are 5-1. Goff 280 on 22 of 25. 2 TDs, no picks. He is sacked 4 times. Gibbs 116 yards rushing and 2 TDs. St. Brown 112 yards receiving on 8 catches and a touchdown. Raymond has the other receiving TD. Montgomery loses a fumble. They get 4 sacks from 4 different players. Brian Branch has the pick. Darnold 259 yards, TD and a pick. Aaron Jones 93 yards rushing and a TD for the Vikings. Jefferson once again being great. 81 yards receiving on 7 catches and a TD. Just a solid game. Van Ginkel has 2 sacks. Just a good game between 2 good teams. It came down to the wire. So that's it. That division's the best in football. You got the Bears at 4-2. They had a bye. Packers are 4-2. I believe they had a bye too. At some point, not last week, but no, they're 5-2. The Packers, they haven't had a bye. So you got 5-1. So the Vikings and the Lions both had buys already. So they're both 5-1. 4-2 Bears, 5-2 Packers. Tight division. And now they start playing each other. That's when you're going to see kind of like some separation possibly come. I'm watching some of this game at my fiance's dad's house. The Eagles beat up on the Giants 28-3. That was like the first time I watched a majority of a football game in a long time, because I was just like, throw some football on, right? And then I watched some of the Chiefs 49ers game as well. And I did see the end of that. They put the end of the Lions-Vikings game on. Barkley, I know, ripped it up. Eagles are 4-2, Giants are 2-5. Eagles are another one of these teams where they look freaking great one week, then they look awful. It's similar to the Cowboys. They look great, then they look terrible. Hurts 100. He doesn't have to do much. Hurts 10 for 14, 114 yards and a TD. He's sacked 4 times. The Giants did get 5 sacks. The Giants lead the league in sacks. Barkley, though, in his return to New Jersey. 176 yards rushing on 17 carries and a TD. They run the ball for 269 yards. Jalen Hurts has 2 rushing TDs. A.J. Brown, 89 yards receiving a TD. Like I said, they just run the ball like crazy. They didn't have to pass. 2 sacks for Dean, 2 sacks for Carter. The Eagles had 8 sacks as a team. Jones, 99 yards passing, sacked 7 times. I didn't realize Drew Lock, the old Broncos quarterback, he was traded in the Russell Wilson trade, but I guess he was a free agent and signed with the Giants. He's their backup. He was 3 of 8 for 6 yards. He got sacked once. And I still think back to, I wish they would have given Drew Lock a full chance to be the quarterback of Denver. Because he showed signs, but he never got like a consistent, he didn't have enough time. Quarterbacks need time. But the problem is it's also a league where we don't have time. It's like the quarterback needs time. Some quarterbacks like Josh Allen, some guys need some time. It's almost like, but we don't have time, like it's a weird league. Tracy Jr. 23 yards rushing, leads the Giants. Neighbors is back here with 41 yards receiving. They do fumble 3 times, but don't lose any of them. Dexter Lawrence, the second, has 2 sacks for the Giants. The Giants just, they're not that great either. Oh, come on. All right, here we go. Why did I do that? Oh, my God. It's like I hit the wrong button. It goes to Gamecast. Now I have to go back twice, and every time I go back, it's taking a month. It sucks because I'm like trying to keep these under like a half an hour, but I'm losing like 5 minutes just on waiting for this shit to load up. Rams beat the Raiders 20-15. I think O'Connell, the guy who's starting now, quarterback for the Raiders, got hurt. Raiders are 2-5. Rams are 2-4. Yeah, because Minshew had to come in, and he had 154 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 picks. Madsen, 92 yards rushing for Vegas. I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting the Chargers are in LA now and the Raiders are in Vegas. I keep forgetting. Bowers, this guy Bowers, I think he's the tight end. Every week he's having a solid game. 10 catches for 93 yards. Minchall also loses a fumble. Not a good game for him. Crosby has the lone sack. Nate Hobbs has the pick. 5 field goals from Carlson was their offense. Stafford doesn't do much better, 154 yards, no TDs and a pick. Williams, 76-yard rushing for the Rams and 2 TDs. Tyler Johnson, 57 yards receiving for the Rams. They get 2 sacks. McCullough has 2 picks, and Durant has a pick. Just another game. Football is weird. It's like there's like a bunch of just, oh, there was a game. Then you have some other, Packers, Texans one. Although that was kind of just a game too, but it came down to the wire. Defensive struggle. Commanders destroy the Panthers 40-7. I'm telling you, Denver's going to lose to the Panthers in Denver. I have a feeling. Or they'll struggle to win. It's going to go that way. 40-7. Jaden Daniels did get hurt. But I think he should be fine. I think he bruised his ribs. Dalton, 93 yards passing, 2 picks. He's sacked twice, no touchdowns. Bryce Young comes in, 2 for 2, -4 yards passing. Hubbard has 52 yards rushing for the Panthers and a TD. Sanders, 61 yards receiving to lead the way. They have 1 sack by Harris. Oh, I didn't realize they have Marcus Mariota. Not a bad backup to have, Washington. 205 yards, 2 TDs. Robinson Jr., 71 yards rushing. Oh, wow, Daniels got hurt early. He was 2 for 2. And he had 50 yards rushing. Did he get hurt rushing the ball? That's the problem with some of these rushing QBs, man. It's like, it's awesome that a lot of these guys can run the ball, but you're like, oh my God, if they take one destructive hit, they could be done for the year. I concern myself with Bo Nix with that, too. Bo Nix is, well, he's a rookie, too, like Daniels, but you're always worried. You're like, oh, great, he's going to get hurt immediately. It's going to stunt his growth. McLaurin, 98 yards receiving. Ertz has a receiving TD. Brady, 2 has a receiving TD. Fowler Jr. and Forbes Jr. with the picks. 4 field goals for Seibert for Washington. And are they still in division lead? 5-2, yes. Chiefs beat the 49ers 28-18. Chiefs are the only team left undefeated, 6-0. And Niners are 3-4. The Niners lost was it Ayuk? I think he blew out his knee. I was watching some of that. He was done. Deebo Samuel got hurt too. They're struggling. Mahomes doesn't do much. 154 yards rushing, passing. I'll get it right third time. No TDs, 2 picks. He's got like 8 picks this year. It's funny, right? Like, he's not doing his typical stuff. And they're still 6-0 because their defense is freaking excellent. And they run the ball for $184. Mahomes has a rushing TD. Hardman has a rushing TD. Hunt, 78 yards and 2 rushing TDs. When in doubt, rush the ball. Gray leads the way with 66 yards receiving. They do have 1 sack. It was funny because I've not seen the Chiefs play, and it's funny because I always see the things on Instagram and stuff. Oh, if Mahomes does something, the announcers and everybody lose their mind in ESPN. But if another quarterback does the same thing, they don't care. He did a shovel pass in this game, and I thought Tom Brady just blew his load in his pants, and the other guy was announcing. He did like a nice little shovel pass, right? And they were just like, oh my God. I was like, dude, it was a shovel pass. He's the best quarterback in the league, regardless of his stats. Like, duh, he can do that, and he's done it 50 times. Like, it's fucking weird. I'm like, why are they creaming their jeans over a shovel pass? Like, the ways that one in the Super Bowl when he was like getting against Brady, the Bucks, he was getting hit and falling down when he did it, so that was more impressive. This one was literally, he was running with speed. It was just like, it was a nice shovel pass, but not enough to fucking blow your load. Anyway, they have 3 picks here. Reed, Wallace, and Hicks. Their defense is excellent, so that's kind of scary. You're like, they're not actually ripping it up offensively, but their D is still great, and they're 6-0. Purdy has a bad game. They teed up 3 picks, 212 yards. Purdy does rush for 2 TDs. They have 101 yards as a team rushing, but nobody really rips it up. Kittle 92 yards receiving. They get 2 sacks, 2 picks. Lenoir and Davis, but Chiefs 6-0, the only undefeated team. It's really not surprising that they would be undefeated. Although, like, a lot of their games are tight. But here's the thing: I've talked about this with the Chiefs. They'll win those tight games. That's the edge outside of, you say, Mahomes. He's the ultimate edge, because if Mahomes goes down, the Chiefs realistically are not going to be good, right? Not that they don't have talent, but Mahomes is the guy. Like, he's that good. And even when he's not doing good, he's still always going to be a threat. And what was I saying? Oh, they have the clutch gene. Now that they have the 3 Super Bowls, they've gone to 4 in the last, 7 years, whatever it's been. And they're as a team, they have the clutch gene. If it's a tight game with the Chiefs, 9 out of 10 times they're going to win the game. 9 out of 10 times they're going to win that game. And that could ride you another 5 fucking years, because they just know how to win. You can't teach that. The Steelers destroy the Jets 37-15. And they were winning at the half, the Jets, and then the second half, the Steelers just blew it open. Rodgers, 276, a TD, 2 picks. So the poor Jets are 2-5 now. they're in the curse mode. Brees Hall, 38 yards rushing and a TD. Brees Hall has 103 yards receiving. Conklin has a receiving TD. Adams' first game with the Jets, 3 for 30. They do get a sack. Good old Russell Wilson, 2 touchdowns, no picks for the Steelers, 264 yards. I can't even say, of course, he did well. He's off at Denver. He did well last year at Denver. It's just that Sean Payton, he's not my quarterback, so I got to do whatever I can to get rid of him. Which is weird, but whatever. Harris, 102 yards rushing and a TD. Russell Wilson also has a rushing TD. Pickens, 111 yards receiving and a TD. Van Jefferson has the other receiving TD for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh quietly 5-2. I feel like they have there's always teams that are ripping it up, and usually the Steelers, maybe they are all over the sports media, I don't know, because they are arguably the most popular team, even sometimes more so than Dallas, but they're definitely the 2 most popular teams, right? Like, in terms of, like, name recognition and, oh, yeah, I don't know football, but Steelers, Cowboys. But they're like a quiet 5-2. Those teams that fly under the radar all year. And next thing you know, they're in, like, the AFC Championship. And the 2 Monday night games here. Ravens beat the Bucks 41-31. The Ravens have now won 5 in a row after starting 0-2, so they're starting to find their groove. Jackson, 5 TDs, no picks, 281 yards passing. Derrick Henry is just ripping it up, 169 yards on 15 carries. They run the ball for 244 yards. Bateman, Hill, Andrews. Bateman and Hill have a TD apiece. Bateman, 121 yards receiving. Mark Andrews, 2 TDs. Lamar Jackson loses a fumble, but it doesn't matter. They get 3 sacks. Humphrey has 2 picks. Mayfield, 3 TDs, 2 picks. 270 yards for the Bucks. A rushing touchdown for Irvin. Kate Otten, 100 yards receiving. 2 TDs for White. Receiving TDs, Mike Evans with the receiving TD. Ravens starting to look good now. The problem for the Ravens, because realistically, it's going to be a combination of Chiefs, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, I think, in the Super Bowl. I mean, not the Super Bowl, the AFC Championship. That's what I feel. And if the Bills play the Chiefs in the playoffs, the Chiefs are winning that game. All right? They might do it if they play the Ravens, too. I'm telling you, man, all the teams that are capable of, and the Bengals showed it once, and they play the problem is they missed the playoffs, doesn't matter. They play the Chiefs very tight in the playoffs. I mean, the Bills do too, but the Bills don't have a good win against them. And the Ravens didn't beat them last year. One of these teams, if you want to stop the juggernaut, it's weird because the Chiefs are a juggernaut while not feeling like a juggernaut. They're just always there. The Patriots were this way a lot too, except that, and the Chiefs as well. Sometimes they have an incredible year and they kind of steamroll. But a lot of times they're just always there because they're just the best and they know how to win. It's like, dude, it's like if you're the Chiefs, you're just like, dude, we're going to run into the Ravens or the Bills in the playoffs. And, they'll run into another random team like the Dolphins or some shit. The Bengals, they played these. The Bengals have to make the playoffs. That might be the only team the Chiefs have a little bit of fear of is the Bengals. The Bills, they can at this point. And the Ravens, they're just probably like, whatever. And same thing with the Niners. It's like, dude, the Chiefs are just like, Niners, get out of here, Doesn't matter where the game's played, who has the better team, or whatever. Or people are hurt or not. The Chiefs are going to win because they just know how to win. That sounds stupid. Last game of the week, anyway. Cardinals beat the Chargers 17-15. Herbert has 349 yards passing, no TDs, no picks. 59 yards rushing as a team. Number 81 yards receiving. They lose 2 fumbles. They don't get any sacks. Tart has a pick. 5 field goals are all the points for the Chargers. Cardinals are 3-4. Chargers are 3-3. Murray under 45 yards rushing, TD and a pick. He rushes for a touchdown as well for the Cardinals. Connor 101 yards rushing. Connor has 51 yards receiving. Dortch has the receiving TD for Arizona. Arizona 3-4. They kind of bounce back and forth to Arizona. But that is it for week 7 in the NFL. So we got one undefeated team, sorry. There are no defeated teams, I think, right? Everybody's got at least a win. We got the Jets at New England. We got Minnesota versus the Rams. Green Bay and Jacksonville. Philly, Cincinnati could be a good one. Atlanta, Tampa, divisional battle. Tennessee, Detroit. Baltimore, Cleveland. Indy, Houston. Arizona, Miami. Chargers, New Orleans. Buffalo, Seattle could be a good one too. Chicago, Washington could be a good one too. Carolina, Denver. KC, Raiders, Dallas, San Francisco in a classic matchup. And the Giants in Pittsburgh. But yeah, how's your team doing? Let me know. I'm shocked Denver's over 500, 7 games this season. Well, yeah, thanks for checking this out.